Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And we are back, the Onside Kick here on Most Valuable Podcast. Thank you guys for either watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. We are coming back, and Mark, today, great podcast. You want to know why?
Draft podcast.
Talking about the draft. My mock draft. I need to apologize, first off, to you guys out there. When we talked Browns draft, I said, I'll have it up by the time this is up.
Liar.
Workout.
Liar.
Then last week, we talked about the Cardinals. I said, I'll have it up. I got like 10 picks to write down. It will be up this week. I promise you it will be up this week. My 2.0 mock draft. And then Mark's, I think we're going to say, 2 weeks on yours? 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, it keeps getting delayed because Ricky won't get his fucking shit up.
So
it was supposed to be up like today.
So
but
it was supposed to, because mine was supposed to be up.
But no, I feel your pain because the real world is very real at the moment.
I hate it.
These past 2 months have been very real.
I can't wait, Mark, until this is it. This is the one. But
then you got nothing to blame.
Here's what's going. Well, I won't have to. I'll do it during the day. But here's what's going to happen. We're doing it right now before we get into the podcast. My mock draft comes out this week. Mark's mock draft will come out the week of February 27th. So
that's my birthday.
When you could, is it your birthday?
Yeah, we're gonna have a birthday podcast.
We're gonna have a birthday podcast.
It's gonna be great.
Didn't we? We almost had a birthday podcast for me, I think.
Yeah, I feel like one of these days, one of these years, we've done a birthday podcast.
We have for me because it's usually on Martin Luther King Day, which is usually a Monday. We've done it on Tuesdays before, so we'll have a birthday podcast for you.
It's gonna be great.
We can all wish Mark a happy birthday in 2 weeks.
On the wrong side of 20 at this point.
On the wrong side of 20. How do you think I feel? I'm almost on the wrong side of 30.
Well, actually, at this point, I am closer to 30 than I am to 20. So.
I am very close to 30, and it scares me every single day. But today, what we're going to talk about in the draft is Corey Davis. Is he the best wide receiver in this draft? We're going to take a look at Solomon Thomas, one of the biggest risers from mock draft 1 to mock draft 2. And then we're going to do something that the Fast Break did. We looked at Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball on the onside kick. We're looking at the safeties. We're going to take Jamal Adams. We're going to go put him up with Malik Hooker and see which safety we would rather have if we were drafting for an NFL team. But, Mark, let's get started with Corey Davis. And the reason this topic is even there, we talked about Mike Williams a few weeks ago. To me, he is still, if I had to put a number one receiver, I am still putting Mike Williams as the number one receiver off the board. However, Todd McShay, number 5 pick, rolls around, the 9-7 Titans. Who do they take in his mock draft? Corey Davis out of Western Michigan. Is he the best? Is he the best and the number one choice for the wide receivers in this draft?
You know, it's tough for me. To call him the best, I'm not quite sure about that. But I definitely think he is incredibly talented at, 6'2", big solid guy, 210 or something like that. He's very reliable. He's a reliable target. The thing that I think about Corey Davis that, of course, is going to scare me is he played for Western Michigan. Mm-hmm. How often does Western Michigan play, I'm going to use air quotes, real talent in college football? Not very much. When they play NIU, when they play NIU every year, there you go. There's your real talent. I don't know if they play them every year. I just like Northern Illinois. Mm-hmm. But I'm not taking anything away from him, but he's not playing the best defenses out there. You put him in the SEC, Big Ten even, you might have a different story. And that's what makes me a little bit nervous, but you can't go completely off of that. I mean, he's a big target. He is tall. He's got the arms. He is fast as well. Not crazy fast, but he's fast enough.
Well, and I mean, the one thing, just to put out how fast he is he's not going to run a 40 at the combine because he's nursing an ankle injury still. But the last time we have from at his pro day, he's expected to run a 4.4.
Yeah.
So he runs in the 4.40s.
One thing I like about Corey Davis, though, is the fact that he'll engage. He will block. He will get those yards after the catch. He will fall forward. He's one of these guys who is going to put in the extra work and the extra effort, where some people are using the criticism on Williams, saying that he's the guy who's going to go out of bounds. He's not going to fight for the first down. That's one of the criticisms people want to use on Mike Williams. Currently, I probably would still put Mike Williams above Corey Davis, but honestly, I don't think it's that far off. A little bit nervous about the talent level that Corey Davis played, but like I said, not that far off. I really like what Davis has. I really like what he's been able to do. I mean, it's not his fault that he plays for Western Michigan, so I don't want to say that or anything, but the problem for me is when I look at these two guys, and it goes back to what we talked about, who's the next superstar coming into the NFL draft, is I don't think either one of these guys are Odell. I don't think either one of these guys are necessarily Alshon Jeffrey or Julio Jones. But I think these guys are going to be incredibly reliable targets that will make a team better.
Well, and I mean, in mine, it's also something for what teams look at for wide receiver.
Yeah.
And the thing is with that Titans, because we're looking at them as mainly the take a wide receiver first. Like the thing that I think the Titans should go with, and I'm using them as the example because none of the top 4 picks in the draft are going to think about a receiver. The Titans are that first team that needs a receiver. Their 2 big needs, cornerback, number 1, wide receiver, number 2. However, they've got 2 picks in the first round. And what I think they should do is go wide receiver first. Basically, with what Todd McShay's going with, I am going Mike Williams. So basically, whichever one you think is better, Corey Davis or Mike Williams. Because like you said, they're not far apart. You look at the grades on NFL.com, Mike Williams is at a 6.3. Corey Davis is at a 6.2. That's how close they are on the grading on NFL.com.
You're looking at basically number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, and you take whichever one you like better, and then at the 18th pick, because we're deeper at the cornerback position, then you go ahead and take that cornerback. So to me, I feel like that Titan pick is where we're going to see either Williams or Davis off the board. After that, they could go, like that second wide receiver can go anywhere. He could go as late as the last pick to the Patriots. He could go to the Giants. He could go to the Bills. He could go to the Chargers. Whoever that second pick is, it's kind of an unknown of where they're going to go in the first round.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like about the Tennessee Titans draft position, not that this is a topic about the Titans, but is that they can go either way. I mean, they can take the wide receiver first or the corner first, and if they go with the corner, Corey Davis or Mike Williams are probably both going to be off the board, but you can still get quality wide receiver at 18. You'll get a quality corner at 18 if you take wide receiver first as well. So it's definitely, when I'm looking at it, you're in a good position. You can go either way. Fortunately, the Browns aren't going to take either. 49ers aren't going to take either. The Bears, there's the slim chance they might take a corner, but I'm going to guess they'll take a safety first. And then there's the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I don't really think are going to take either as well. So you're pretty safe. You can do whatever the hell you want, whichever one of these guys you like better, whether it's the wide receiver, whether it's the corner, whichever one you think you can get a good guy at 18, just go for it. They're in a perfect position.
And the one thing I want to point out that Todd McShay has in his little description about Corey Davis, he has, and I quote, but if he's in the 4.4s at his pro day as expected, like I said, that's expected of where he's going to run in the 40-yard dash because he's not going to do it at the combine. He could be a surprise top 10 pick. Marcus Mariota needs more weapons on the perimeter. And the thing for me is what you're going to go with, if you have to pick Mike Williams or Corey Davis, is Corey Davis is going to be that guy, doesn't have elite ball skills, but they're pretty good. To me, he's more of like what his elite skill is route running. He's a guy who's played in college. I want to say 4-year production guy. And the biggest thing I like about him is he's a competitor. And as if I'm a football coach, that's what I want. I want a competitor. However, I look at the side of Mike Williams and I look at that height and that just size and I go, that's the wide receiver I want. Plus, if he can give me what he gave Clemson in that title game, I don't think you could miss on either or. If you took either or before the other, you're not going to miss.
And before someone yells at Ricky in the comment section, Corey Davis is taller than Mike Williams, not by much, by about an inch.
But he's got that, I'm talking like overall size.
Yeah, Mike Williams is a bigger
height.
guy.
It's one of those things where you look at him and you go, that is the prototypical wide receiver size I want. Now, on the other side, Corey Davis, he's a guy that with that competitism comes that's not even the word. You guys know what I'm trying to say. What comes with that is, oh, you want to come and get a big hit on me? I'm going to go through you. I'm coming at you. I'm not going to duck out of bounds so that you can't hit me. I'm going to take you on head on, which might be good, might be bad in the NFL. You take your pick.
Yeah, and especially in the situation where on Mike Williams' side, he's not, there is some injury concern. You are a little scared of injury in this case. So you understand why he's going out of bounds. And maybe you like that. Maybe if you're a GM, you say, yeah, I don't want this guy getting hit. Why would I want him to get hit? So maybe you're a fan of that. I'm not sure. For this type of situation, it to me, it doesn't necessarily matter with these two guys. It doesn't matter which one you want to take, if you want to take Williams or you want to take Davis. Is Corey Davis the best wide receiver in the draft? Not really, but it's like 1 and 1A. It's really not exactly that big of a difference here.
And really it comes down to what kind of a wide receiver you like, because just if I look at the NFL comparisons that NFL.com has for Mike Williams, they have Plexico Burress. For Corey Davis, they have Eric Decker. So if you just look at those, you know what you're getting. Eric Decker, a guy who is going to me, he's going to be used in open space, might take the ball a little bit deeper, or Plexico Burress is your red zone threat. I'm using my size, can take you deep, but I'm going to use my size to maybe quarter of the end zone, kind of like the pass that kind of just rings in my head is that national championship one where he kind of lays out like this to catch that ball and stretch for it. And that is what Mike Williams is. And it's because the Titans are going to be the first one that's going to at least look at a wide receiver. What do you want? That big body wide receiver that's going to be a red zone threat for you guys, or a guy you can put on the outside and he can kind of run his route, find the open space, boom, and get you big gains and be pretty quick doing it.
And if I'm, GM of the Tennessee Titans, I think I would rather have a guy like Corey Davis for that because
you got Rashad Matthews already.
Exactly. Not only that, but you also have a good run game and a mobile quarterback. You've got ability to get in the end zone when you're in the red zone, when you're close on the goal line. You can get in just fine. I don't think you need yet another one of those. What Mariota's going to need, and we're talking about this, obviously, Titans, because they're going to probably be the first team to take a wide receiver. What Mariota needs is just a guy he can throw the ball to consistently, and he is going to get him to that spot where he can go ahead and make the difference himself. Yeah. I'm not too concerned about that. For me, for the Tennessee Titans, it's more of we need to get there, and then I trust Mariota. I trust him enough.
I'm going to ask you this. You probably already answered it, but I'm going to ask it again. So if you're the Titans, you're taking Davis over Williams.
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask
based on what I need.
I'm going to ask you this follow-up then. Titans have taken Corey Davis, like you said. Mike Williams. After that, does he go to the Chargers at 7? Does he go to the Bills at 10? Does he maybe go to one team that before today I wouldn't have mentioned, but because they released Victor Cruz, maybe the Giants at 23? or does he fall maybe all the way to the Patriots at 32? Where would Mike Williams go if Davis went to the Titans at 5?
I can't imagine Mike Williams falls past the top 10. He is top 10 talent without a doubt.
So either the Chargers or
Whether
the
it's
Bills?
the Chargers, whether it's the Bills, I would even put the Panthers in there as well, even though the Panthers have higher needs. But Cam Newton needs help on offense, that's for sure. Anything he can get. Yeah, I think any of these teams would be thrilled to get a guy like that. He's someone who shouldn't fall out of the top 10. I can't imagine that he will.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things where...
And the thing to remember, there's a lot of good defensive talent in this draft, and a lot of these top 10 teams do need defense, but they can get that later.
Well, and that's like, here's one thing. This is kind of off the Corey Davis topic, but it goes off of what you just said. It's kind of like you mentioned the Panthers. They need offensive help.
Yeah.
They can go wide receiver. They could go with like what Todd McShay has them going Carolina Panthers. However, in my mock draft, and this is spoiler alert, I'm going to let you in on it, they went with safety. They went with Jamal Adams fell to the Carolina Panthers and didn't go Leonard Fournette.
Where Todd McShay, he's got him with the running back.
Because like you said, they need defensive help. I looked at it and went, hey, if Jamal Adams is there at 8, I'm not saying he's going to be, but in my mock draft, that's where he fell to. If he's there, the Panthers go, sure, fuck it. We'll take him over Leonard Fournette. We can get it back later. We got Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these two guys, because like we're saying, they are close. And I think once we get closer to the draft, we're going to have, not necessarily just on this podcast, but you guys are going to see this conversation coming up all the time with these two guys. And honestly, this might be one of those times where a team that doesn't necessarily need that wide receiver goes ahead and drafts him because it's just a quality guy. I mean, this guy, I think either one of these guys, I don't know. Do you feel confident that one of these guys are going to be a number 1? I feel like these guys are probably more likely to be number 2s.
Well, it's one of the things where Mike Williams, I think, if he's not a number 1 year 1, he can be, but if he's not a number 1 year 1, he's a guy that can develop into a number 1. Like with Mike Williams, I think a perfect situation for him would be kind of like the one Alshon Jeffrey fell into. Yeah. Where you fall in as the number 2 because you have Brandon Marshall there, but then eventually you take over and become the number 1. Like, and to me, like teams that could happen for is obviously the Bears, but they're not going to take a wide receiver. Bears fans, don't jump all over me, but the Jets, Brandon Marshall, I mentioned him. The Chargers, Keenan Allen might come back, be your number 1, but you might think, hey, you know what? Injuries, he could get injured again. Yeah. He could develop into and then take that number 1 spot. The Panthers, I don't really think they have Calvin Benjamin.
But Calvin Benjamin's not what we expected.
He's not, like, it's one of those things where he got injured and, like, the injury really set him back
Something
a little bit.
To throw out there, just because I think this team missed Sanu a little bit more than they thought they would. The Cincinnati Bengals.
See, the thing with the Bengals, though, and
it's nowhere near a high need. Nowhere near it. But it would be nice.
I'm gonna actually save the Bengals for a little bit because I don't want to get in too like. What I'm going to ask first, is there anything about Corey Davis that we missed before we move on? Because if we mention the Bengals, I'm going on into Solomon Thomas. So anything we missed about Corey Davis?
No, we're good. I guess Mac Pride or something like that. I don't know.
The Mac Pride. What do
you got? Every once in a while, the Mac
you got the
teams,
Ohio Bobcats.
They get somebody in there.
You got NIU.
Yep.
You got the Chippewas.
The
Huskies.
The Mac.
Yeah, the Huskies.
The Huskies of DeKalb. You go to DeKalb and you can get a nice piece of corn. You know, a nice thing about DeKalb that I want to let all you guys know, for the longest time, there was a piece of corn, like paper piece of corn, on the wall of my basement when I was growing up, and I had no idea why. It had wings. It's something with DeKalb, which is where NIU is. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Okay.
I had no idea what the hell that meant for the longest time in my life until I realized, oh, my parents went to NIU.
And this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below.
Feel like corn.
In the comment section, let us know what you think about Corey Davis. How does that play into Mike Williams? Who would you pick if you had to choose between the two of them?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.